for getting up early on Saturday morning and coming to this event. Okay, this event is being live broadcasted around the globe. Let me also welcome those of you joining us online. Okay, my name is Byung-gun Lee, and I am head of the admissions office at KDI School. And we have prepared a lot for today. And I hope that this will be useful and informative in planning your academic career. Okay, before we begin the event, let me briefly inform you of the order of today's program. First up, Mr. Hidolo, a current student at KDI School, will give you a welcome speech. After the speech, Professor Jinsu Lee will give you a presentation about the KDI School. A sample of course presentation will follow right afterwards. Lastly, we will break into 5 different groups for Q&A sessions based on different types of applicants. This Q&A session will take place in 5 different rooms. The grouping will be explained later on. Also, please fill out the survey form and submit it to us when you leave the venue. Okay, let us begin today's event by inviting Mr. Low. Please welcome him to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, my future colleagues, welcome to KDI School. And my name is Hidoro, and I'm a 2018 spring semester full-time student. I stand here on behalf of my fellow friends and colleagues at KDI School to give you a warm welcome. Although it is a very short 5-minute speech, it is very special and meaningful for me to open up this event because I actually attended this event last year. So I was here as a future applicants or candidates for the application, and now I'm here as a student. So it's very special and meaningful. So I finished my military duty in August last year, and I was in a dilemma in choosing the stage for the next chapter of my life. And KDI School was one of a few options that I was considering at that time. And last year's open house was indeed a very useful and informative event, which convinced me to choose KDI School. Great facilities of the school, as you can see, as well as professors' very passionate introductory presentations on the curriculum of each program gave me an intensive impression. And I could imagine myself drawing a bright future at KDI School. And I hope today you can get as much information and assurance as I received from the last year's open house event. Before I joined this school, I had lived abroad for about 7 years. So I know the importance of understanding various cultures and the incentives that vivid experiences can give us. So I always believe and emphasize that people have to learn and expand their knowledge, not only by studying and reading, but also by experiencing and communicating with people from different backgrounds. And I can confidently say that KDI School is the best institute in Korea. As you all know, the official language of the school is English. So of course, you will be able to practice and improve your English skills. But language is just a very tiny part of advantages that you can expect from this school. For example, you will have a lot of opportunities and chances to have conversations and discuss about the current social problems and international issues with your classmates. And since about the composition of this school, about 50% of the composition of this school is international students, you will hear many different perspectives and ideas from different backgrounds. I guarantee that you will learn a lot. You will learn lots of new ideas that you will never be able to come up with as a Korean from your international classmates. So not only lectures and seminars, but also conversations and casual talks become a unique way of learning at KDI School. Another great thing about this institute is that KDI School teaches not only academic theories, but also actual and more practical policymaking process. So for example, I took course Public Organization Management in the spring semester, and the course's last final paper assignment was to indicate flaws in the current public management system and suggest new policies to fix those problems. Also, the foreign policy analysis that I took in the summer semester also required students to write an analytical brief, which literally analyzes the current aspects of South Korea and then foresees the next directions of South Korea's foreign policy regarding the current North Korean issues. So for these assignments and curriculums, you have to understand theories first, but at the same time, you have to expand your knowledge and perspectives based on your understanding, and then suggest new ideas or policies to solve the current issues. And last but not the least, this KDI school offers many different courses, and you are able to develop your own study curriculums. What I mean is that besides 2 or 3 core courses, you're free to take any courses that you're interested in. So you can develop your own study path and your own directions for future research based on your own interesting points and your own plans. KDI School offers not only development courses, but also many other fields such as climate change, public management, governance, labor policy, social welfare, and international politics, those that the public sector has to deal with. So this variety of courses and options will enhance your readiness and competency as a policy developer or public servant. So wrapping up, KDI School is a place of fruitful learning and experience, and those such diverse opportunities are an exclusive luxury for KDI School students. And especially if you have a plan to work in the public sector, or if you're already working in the public sector, I believe KDI School is the best choice. And so I wish you the best of luck and success in your application. And I hope to see you again at the school on the first day of the spring semester 2019. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Low. Now we will watch our promotional video. Please direct your attentions toward the screen.
Since 1971, KDI has laid the foundation for economic research in Korea and facilitated the country's development policymaking. As Korea's remarkable growth garnered much attention from the world, other developing countries were eager to visit KDI and heed its advice to benchmark Korea's success. KDI School of Public Policy and Management was established in 1997 in order to share with the world the knowledge and information accrued at KDI in an organized and effective manner. The number one objective of KDI School is to provide premier education in order to produce international experts in the field of public policy and management. Utilizing intellectual resources available at KDI, which has matured into the number one think tank in Asia, KDI School continues to update and renew its curriculum. This reinforces students' problem-solving skills in response to today's rapidly changing policy environment. KDI School offers both master's degree programs and PhD programs. The Master of Public Policy program aims to help policymakers enhance their ability to develop, analyze, and implement policies. The Master of Development Policy program draws from KDI's experience in development policy making and examines various issues of socio-economic development in both theoretical and practical frameworks. The Master of Public Management program aims to improve the capacity of public sector employees by taking an interdisciplinary approach incorporating the fields of public administration, strategic management, and international relations. Finally, the PhD programs at KDI School are designed to develop expert administrators for the public sector. With a world-class curriculum, KDI School has received accreditation from the NASPA for all 3 of its master programs, MPP, MDP, and MPM, becoming the only school in Korea to receive such an accreditation. KDI School recruits more than 40% of its student body from outside Korea, gathering students from about 80 countries around the world.
Thanks to international students, I was able to enhance my understanding on development policies from different cultures and contexts and countries as well.
Both the ethnic and professional diversity among KDI School students create the optimal environment for peer-to-peer learning. Another important goal for KDI School is to conduct rigorous research and training on development. KDI School students can participate in various projects to earn valuable working experience. Taking advantage of strategic partnerships with international agencies, the school delivers pragmatic knowledge-sharing programs.
By participating in the program, we learned that understanding the local context is very important, and a lot of agencies seem to overlook that problem.
At the end of the project, we were able to come up with a report and a presentation to address the human capital issues that our countries are facing as developing countries.
The school also conducts impact evaluation studies to improve the effectiveness of Korea's official development assistance projects.
I learned to handle a large volume of data meticulously and also grasp an idea of how comprehensive evaluation project can be.
Between 2010 and 2016, KDI School collected and organized data on Korea's developmental experience to produce 148 policy case modules. KDI School collects a vast amount of information and content on Korea's developmental experience and turns it into an online database, a comprehensive repository that is open to all and free to use. KDI School believes that supporting each student and their efforts to realize their dreams is the foundation for changing the world.
My research focuses on the development of public infrastructure programs in Pakistan.
My country, Morocco, needs an elite of students coming with new ideas about monitoring and evaluating public policies.
The KDI School has offered me a roadmap on how to enhance and improve and offer solutions to Jamaica's development plan.
The close-knit network between more than 1,900 international alumni members from 131 countries and more than 3,100 alumni from Korea is KDI School's greatest asset.
For improving the public policy process in Bulgaria,
in order to make them love what they have to do.
Contribute towards the development of public sector.
Bigger positive impact to our society.
Friendship, respect, tolerance, and solidarity.
Academic research and policy recommendations to the government of my country.
Encourage them to not just think about themselves, but also the greater good.
My country's emergence towards the greatest nations.
KDI School alumni share the school's core values of change, innovation, and inclusive growth. With such vision, they are leading the international community, creating new paradigms, and helping the world grow together. KDI School invites you to share our pride and values. Shape the world. Pioneer the future.
All right. I hope all of you enjoyed the video. Next is our feature presentation. Professor Jinsu Lee, the Associate Dean of Academic and Student Affairs Division, will provide you with more information about the KDI School. Please welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning, usually time for relax. But you have decided to come to KDI School for open house. We really appreciate your passion to be here. Let me introduce our school and program briefly. First, our president, president of KDI School, also president of KDI, Dr. Jeongpyo Choi. Unfortunately, he is not with us today for his schedule. He majored in microeconomics. We have Dean Jong-il Liu, PhD from Harvard University, majoring in microeconomics and development policy. Welcome him. We have three associate deans. My name is Jin-Soo Lee, in charge of academic and student affairs. We have two more associate deans. Associate Dean for Planning and External Affairs, Professor Si-Yuk Lee, PhD from University of Michigan, and majoring in international trade. Associate Dean for Center for International Cooperation and Capacity Building, who is in charge of international cooperation and short-term education. Professor Won-Hyuk Lim, PhD from Stanford University, majoring in development economics. We have 40 full-time tenure-track professors. Some of those professors with us, I'll introduce. We have Professor Yoon Jung-cho, PhD from Rutgers University, majoring marketing and electric commerce. Before joining us, she taught at Hawaiian Pacific University. We have Professor Baran Han, PhD from Cornell University, majoring in development policy, also political economics. Before joining us, she worked for KIEP, Korea Institute for International Economic Policy. She was also our student, and she became our faculty after she studied in the US. I hope that some of you may join us later as our faculty. We have Professor Buyol Kim, PhD from Columbia University, majoring in sustainable development. He was a former research scholar at Earth Institute and Columbia University. I heard that he was one of the beloved students at that time. You know the Jeffrey Sachs at Columbia. He was his student. We have Professor Dong-Seok Kim, PhD from Stanford University. He's an expert in the area of productivity and growth, also input-output analysis. He had an extensive career at KDI before joining us, and he joined us last year. He is not young, but he's a rising star, especially in teaching. He's our excellent teacher. We have Professor Suni Kim, PhD from State University of New York at Albany. She's an expert in public management and governance area. He used to teach at Syracuse University. She was a tenured faculty at Syracuse University before joining us. We have Professor Jun-Soo Lee, PhD from State University of New York at Albany, majoring in public management. He's a very good-looking person, as you can see. Also, he's a very good person. He's a very strong competitor to Professor Dong-Seok Kim. He's also a very excellent teacher. We have Professor Taejun Lee. Another good-looking professor. PhD from University of Tennessee at Knoxville. He is an expert in digital governance and public communication. He has an extensive experience in consulting to Korean government in public communications. We have Professor Hunju Park. PhD from UC Berkeley, majoring in political economy and international relations. He has quite a lot of experience in both academia and policy areas. He recently worked with the Saudi Arabian government on how to develop Saudi Arabia for the future. We have Christopher Tabakis, Professor Tabakis. PhD from Columbia University, majoring in international trade. He's one of the top researchers in international trade and recently published several papers in top journals in international trade area. Today I will present in the following order a brief history about KDI School, why KDI School, academic programs, and lastly, brief overview on admissions. KDI School was founded in 1997. From the beginning, we have provided MPP, Mass of Public Policy Program. In 2012, in 2001, we introduced a PhD program. In 2012, we introduced MDP, Mass of Development Policy. Also, in 2015, we introduced an MPM program, which are currently three master programs we provide. All the master programs are accredited by NASPA. I'll explain the accreditation of NASPA in a few minutes. I can list probably more than 100 things why KDI School, but because of time constraint, I'll just list three. I'll summarize those lists under these 3 pages. First, premier education. Second, diverse student body. The third, student support. The first one, premier education. As I briefly introduced, all the 3 master programs are accredited by NASPA. NASPA stands for Network of Schools of Public Policy Affairs and Administration, which is the non-profit organization in the US, which certify the qualification of public policy, public affairs, and public administration program. KDI School is the first and only school in Korea to receive this NASPA accreditation. Outside the US, the first school which received NASPA accreditation is Tsinghua University. Just 1 year before us. Tsinghua University, however, Tsinghua University run a policy program in Chinese. So we are the only one accredited by NASPA academic program conducted in English outside the US. We also incorporate policy experiences, also development consulting experiences by KDI. As you already saw in our video clip, KDI ranks #1 in the world in the area of international development, also #1 think tank in Asia. We are so proud of our faculty. Our faculty have PhDs from top universities around the world, mostly from the US. Also, many of our faculty have experiences in policy-related institutions such as World Bank, KDI, KF, and Bank of Korea. So our faculty knows what policy is, how it works, so we can provide practical education so that what you learn can be applied directly to policy issues right after your study. The second, diverse student body. In 2018, we have accepted 354 students from 67 countries. As you can see, we have accepted 191 Korean students, also 163 international students from 66 countries. For Korean students, most of them are from public sector, 21% from government, 20% from public organization. Also, most of international students also have background from public sector. We are very proud of a strong alumni network, especially in public sector. So far, we have more than 3,000 Korean alumni who are working for government, public organizations, private companies, NGOs, and international organizations. For example, we have two vice ministers for Ministry of Strategy and Finances, and both of them are graduates from our school. Internationally, we have more than 2,000 alumni from 133 countries. So basically, you can meet our alumni in almost every country. You can travel around the world. And most of them are working for public sectors, including government. So we have very strong network in public sector around the world, which can be provided by very few institutions in the world. Next one, extensive student support. In addition to classroom experiences, we provide field experiences such as KFRS. KFRS stands for Korea Field Research Study. International IFRS, International Field Research Study. This year we went to Europe to visit several public places. Also, we have fun. In addition to study, we have a sports day, hiking, international food festival. We also provide academic advice service in addition to career development service. We are very proud of broad global partnership. We have partnership with 58 institutions in 26 countries. So you can have exchange programs, also dual degree programs. We also provide extensive opportunity for scholarships, including career school scholarship of academic excellence, Dean's Merit Scholarship, National Service Fellowship. We also provide campus service grant to students who are working as assistant and teaching assistants. For career development, we provide several programs, such as research program, internship program, career development program. For the research program, we work jointly with World Bank, Chinese Academy of Governance, Asian Foundation. We provide fieldwork experiences, workshop opportunities. For internship, we provide internship for institutions such as UN, AFDB, OAS, and IFDB. We provide financial support if necessary. For career development, we provide one-to-one mentoring program where we match students to graduate in the area who are working for the area they are interested in. So we provide such a career development program. This is statistic for recent graduates who have jobs in various areas. Most of our students have work experiences before they come to us. And after study, usually they return to their previous jobs. But some students need jobs after graduation. So this is statistics for those students. We have 133 students between 2015 and 2017, and most of them have jobs in government, private sector, also ISO and NGOs. Academic programs, we have 3 master programs: MPP, Master of Public Policy, MDP, MPM, Master of Public Management. In MPP, we integrate theory and practical knowledge on public policy, focusing on planning and analysis of public policy. MDP, Master of Development Policy, where we study global and regional issues in development policy, also focus on Korean development experiences. In NPM, we cover various facets of public administrations, such as public management, in addition to private management and global governance, where we take interdisciplinary nature for the public management. Concentrations, we have an area where students can specialize in each degree program. Under public policy, we have finance and mechanical policy, trade and industrial policy, public finance and social policy, regional development and environment policy. In NDP, we have international development, sustainable development. In MPM, we have public administration and leadership, strategic management related to private sector management, global governance and political economy, which may relate to global issues. For graduation, you have to take 39 credits. If you take one class, that will be counted for 3 credits. So basically, you have to take 11 classes. In addition, you have to write research paper, which is counted for 6 credits. So for the courses, we have core courses, 2 to 3 courses for each program, and 1 language course, English course, and you have discretion to take courses as you want for your interest. Academic schedule, usually it takes about 1.5 years for graduation, and we have a 3-semester system. If you meet all the requirements, you may graduate within a year. We have PhD program, full-time PhD program, PhD in public policy and development policy. We have interdisciplinary nature to produce policy and development experts through PhD programs. Another overview for the full-time master and PhD program, the deadline of application is October 21st, 2018. For part-time master program, the deadline is November 14th, 2018. These are required documents you can see from online too. This is the end of my presentation, and I hope to see you, all of you again, next spring. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lee. Next in line is okay, sorry for that. Next in line is course presentation. Instead of just telling you how good you are, we have decided to show you what you will learning when you enter the school. To that end, our four best pre-selected professors will give you a short presentation about a class they teach for 5 minutes respectively. All right, the first presenter is Professor Dong-Seok Kim. The course to be introduced is Input-Output Analysis. This is course for MPP program under the concentration of the trade and industry policy, and is also a course for the MDP program. Please welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy and I'm honored to have this chance to introduce one of the courses I'm teaching at this school to our prospective students. The title of the course I'm going to introduce to you is Input-Output Analysis, and actually it is not a core course or required course in the MPP program, but it is only one of many courses which deal with the issues in the area of public policy. Okay, actually the term public policy is a very comprehensive concept, and public policy takes wide range of forms, and usually they classify those forms of public policy in three categories, types. They are government spending, regulation, and institution. And out of those three categories, three types of public policy, this course deals with the first type of public policy, which is government spending. Okay? Government spending occupies a critical position in public policy, and the importance of its economic impact on economy are given more and more attention recently in most countries. Okay, which can be easily confirmed using this chart. Actually, this is the share of government spending as a percentage of GDP, and you can easily find that its share has been increasing in most countries, especially in many advanced countries. And for example, the share of government spending as a percentage of GDP in Korea, it was 23% of GDP last year. Now, what are the major criteria in formulating government budget? I mean, what are the standards which government have when they formulate their government budget for the next year? And they can be classified into two, which are economic impacts and non-economic impacts. By economic impacts, we mean impact on economic growth, impacts on industries, for example, impact on employment, etc., while non-economic impacts include those issues as national defense, health, income distribution, and so on. Now, input-output analysis, I would say that is an easy tool for assessing the economic impact of government spending, in particular in assessing the economic impacts of various categories of government spending in various areas in economic issues. For example, if the government decides to spend one more additional $1 billion, then where should we spend it? On building a road, on education, on subsidy to low-income group, or on increasing total fertility rates, etc.? So those are the typical questions the government faces when they formulate government spending. And actually, this input-output analysis is an easy tool for assessing the economic impact of not only the government budget, but also the impact of final demand, other demand terms. For example, the impact of increase in export, increase in investment, or increase in consumption expenditure, for example. Okay. For this reason, input-output analysis was and still is used in economic planning in many countries. Basically, the nature of economic planning is the forecast of future demand and its impact on the supply side and necessary preparation, for example, education, training, and capital formation, for example. And also, input-output analysis can be used in assessing the impact of price change on an economy. For example, what will be the impact of change in crude oil price, like these days, on the prices of all other products and on the profitability of various industries. And also with input-output tables and analysis, you can easily understand the structure of an economy in a very compact and clear way, and also the characteristics of individual industries and the relationships among industries, firms, and households, and foreign sector, and the government, for example. So finally, I would like to say that input-output analysis course, along with other courses at KDI School, will help expand understanding in public policy. So that was a short introduction of my course. And again, I welcome all of you, and I'd like to see every one of you next spring, and in particular in my course. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Kim. Okay, next up is Professor Boo-yeol Kim, who will talk about foundations of sustainable development, a course for MDP program. Please welcome him to the stage.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Boo-yeol Kim, and today I briefly talk about my course, Foundations of Sustainable Development. Before I introduce my course to you, just let me emphasize how the KDI School MDP program is good. So just let me repeat one more time, even though our Associate Dean, Professor Jin-Soo Lee, already explained. So I have no doubt in my mind that MDP program at KDI School is the best program, at least in Korea. Why? Right? First, we have innovative education curriculum. So as Associate Dean already explained, our program is the only program accredited by NASPA. And also, KDI School MDP programs are a member of global MDP program over the 30 universities worldwide. And in East Asian region, only KDI School and Tsinghua University in China are the member of this global MDP network. And also, we offer various courses in sustainable development, development economics, or international development cooperation. Just let me specifically point out the UN and sustainable development. Maybe you know the ambassador to the United Nations, Oh Jun. He had a very famous speech about North Korean human rights, and more than 10 million people watch his speech. And Professor Oh Jun teach the United Nations and sustainable development issue at KDI School from his first-hand experience at United Nations. And the other courses are also excellent. And I think the KDI School is the only institution can offer these various contents about this development policy. Second, we have the great professors who are conducting impactful and excellent research. So one example, Professor Yang Hee-seung, he conducts education, marriage, and fertility research in Bangladesh, and it was published this year, the Economic Development and Cultural Change. It is an excellent and impactful academic publication in the field of development economics. And also he published the effect of female education on marital matches and child health, published in Journal of the Population Economics. This is a top journal in the field of population economics. And another professor, Professor Wang Shun, he is the leading scholar in the happiness and subjective satisfaction. And just let me point out a few of his excellent research on unintended long-term consequences of Mao's mass send-down movement in China. And this was published in the World Development Journal. This is also leading journal in the field of development economics. And another excellent papers, Do Sibling Make Us Happy? He is really interested in the happiness issue. Empirical linkage between good governance and national well-being also was published in Journal of Comparative Economics. This is another top journal in the field of comparative economics. And another professor, the Professor Tabakis, he's a leading scholar in international trade. And recently he published the international trade issues and regionalism and conflict. This research was published in Journal of International Economics 2 years ago. This is another top journal in the field of international trade and international economics. So I'm very proud to say that the faculty members at KDI schools are leading the development economics and development policy research, at least in Korea. Of course, we are competing with other great schools in Asia and elsewhere. And finally, knowledge sharing. The MDP student, you're taking core courses, Korea development, economic development. So here, this is the best place you can learn the Korean development experience. And with that, you can network and you can share your knowledge with your colleague. And here you have more than 150 international students from all over the world, more than 70 countries. And this is the only institution you can meet more than your colleague from more than 70 different developing countries, right? Not many public policy schools, even in the United States, does not have this extensive student composition, student body composition. Maybe you can meet 5 to 10 different country colleagues from the developing country, but not from 70 different developing countries. And also our mother institution, KDI, they are the leading think tank. And they have a Center for International Development, and they are conducting the very high level a knowledge sharing program, so the student also can learn from the KSP program as well. So just let me now talking about my course, Foundations of Sustainable Development. So this is an introductory course to the field of sustainable development. So we are interested in interaction between economic activities and physical ecology, physical environments. So what are some of the physical constraints that shape economic development? Or how do the anthropogenic activity, human economic activity influence the physical environment? Those questions we are discussing together. And by the way, the KDI school, we pursue for innovative teaching practices. So this is not typical a lecture-based course. This is we call the flipped learning course. So this course follows the blended learning approach. So I'm not teaching the whole course. So the student first register this massive open online course offered by Professor Jeffrey Sachs at Columbia University. So I think this is the best course for sustainable development introductory level. And currently, the student all around the world, they are taking this online course. Right? So the student first register this Age of Sustainable Development online course at Coursera. You can register this one. This is a 14 weeks course. And here, student first watch this course and lecture first. Then you come to the class and have a discussion, live discussion with colleague and myself. So the topics to be covered in this course, we will talk about the brief history of economic development and ending poverty and some other issues, education, health, and food security as well. And also, we have very active interaction. So we invite some leading scholars in this area So the last year we had a video conferencing with Dr. Sonia Sachs. Maybe you know who she is. She's been with Professor Sachs since 1974 at college. So she also talking about the public health issue in the globe, right? So again, I'm running out of my time, but again, I'm emphasized my course. So as I emphasized, you can meet like your colleague from all over the world. So this is a small class, like usually 20 students are taking, but you see that 7 students from Asia, China, Myanmar, Malaysia, Nepal, Maldives, Bangladesh, 3 students from Africa, Kenya, Togo, Madagascar, and Jamaica, Nicaragua, and Moldova. This year, I have 22 students, but from 5 students from Africa, 3 from Asia, 2 from Latin America. So this is the program and the courses you typically can expect. So thank you for your attention, and I hope to see all of you in next year. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Kim. Next, now Professor Junsu Lee will take the stage to introduce Public Organization Management, the core course of MPM program.
Okay, thank you. My name is Junsu Lee, Assistant Professor at KDI School. As our Associate Dean, Junsu Lee, explained us, there are 3 concentrations under MPM program. Public Administration and Leadership, led by Professor Sunyi Kim and Taejun Lee, and Strategic Management, led by our Professor Yoon Jung Cho, and finally, the International Relations, led by Hunter Park. Among these excellent courses, today let me introduce one of the representative the course. This is the core course of MPM program. Every student in MPM program should take this course. It is offered by Professor Sunyi Kim and Chang Yong Choi and me. Okay, who is public manager and what does he or she do and how? Let's see a picture that will characterize the characteristics of the public management. Here are 2 guys. This looks like some taller. He looks like a principal. He is a citizen, and the citizen empowers Mickey Mouse, like us. This guy is public manager. So in a nutshell, public managers like us should work on behalf of the citizens who are the principals. We are working as agency or agent. But let me introduce what this course is about by introducing 3 major myths of public management, or 3 misunderstandings of public management. These guys will help us. First myth of public management is the complexity of mission and environment. Have you ever seen this film? The film titled Fantasia, right? Fantasia. In this film, Mickey Mouse is working as the all-powerful magician. So first myth is that public management or public managers, they can control environment surrounding their missions. But we all know this is not true. In reality, we are working like Alice in Wonderland. As you can see here, Alice in Wonderland, she is playing a croquet. She wanna hit this ball using this club, but this ball and club, they are all living creatures. So that means public managers should deal with ever-changing environment to achieve their missions. So in order for us to deal with these situations, we will cover in this course, we will cover decision-making, strategic management, performance management, and innovation. The second myth of public management is constraint of intra-organization. In this film, again, the Mickey Mouse looks like the all-powerful magician. Maybe he earns a master of public management. But in reality, public managers like us, like Pinocchio on strings, public managers should work under constraint, resource constraint, and teamwork constraint, cultural and ethical constraint, and we have to work under our leaders, our bosses. So these topics will be covered. Last, characteristics of public management is collaboration of inter-organizations. The last myth is that public managers, they are the sole players. They are working just alone. But this is not true. We all know that. Rather, we are working like a Pinocchio with other puppets. So we have to interact and collaborate with others who are also under their own constraint. So how do we have to deal with this situation? So we will cover networks, politics, and governance. So personally, I want to warn you that even after you graduate this school, please don't be misled the title of your degree. You will earn the degree of Master of Public Policy or Development or Public Management, but you will not be able to become the all-powerful magician. So after you graduate this school, the reality will remain quite uncontrollable, unmanageable. But the irony is that public managers are still expected to manage something unmanageable. So what should we do? So one of the objectives of this school is not only teach you about engineering, in other words, public problem solving, but also becoming a social scientist, problem analyst. So when you meet with any problems, please do not rush to the problem solving. We have to become the social scientist first, and then we can become a good, excellent engineers. So this is one of the objectives of this course and MPM program and this school. This is the end of this presentation. We all hope to see you soon again in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee. Last but not least, Professor Christos Thomas Tabakis will talk about microeconomics. This is a two-page course, but it's open to master student who is seeking advanced level.
So good morning. So welcome to our school on this cloudy Saturday morning. So this course is a PhD course, but it's open to master students. So the title might sound or seem a bit scary, macroeconomics 2, or very boring or something. But basically, this is a course about game theory. Also, game theory might also sound a bit scary, but it's something, I think, that is very valuable for everyday life, because all of us, every day, we engage in a lot of strategic interactions. Maybe we know or don't fully understand that, but we do. And this course is very useful to understand strategic interactions. So if game theory were a company, the corporate slogan probably should be, "No man is an island." So the focus of the course basically is interdependence. So let me briefly give you a simple example before I go into this. So I don't know if you like movies or cinema, but if you like police movies, in any police movie, whenever they catch, let's say, two suspects for a crime, what does the police always do? They separate them. They never put them in the same room. They always separate the two suspects, trying to make them confess. Okay? And this idea of separating the two suspects to make them confess, actually it's based on game theory. That is the right thing to do. That will probably guarantee that you will get a confession. Even though it is to their best interest not to confess, if they could coordinate, if you separate them, you'll be able to get this. So that's what you see in all the police movies. So what is basically game theory? It's a formal way to analyze interaction among a group of rational agents behaving strategically. So basically, we're talking here about a situation where you have at least two or more players. Think about, for example, two companies competing. Boeing, let's say, with Airbus, Samsung, LG. So what happens here is whatever one of them does affects the other and vice versa. So, and of course you have to take this into account, so you have to act strategically. So Samsung cannot ignore what LG will do and vice versa. Boeing has to understand what Airbus will do and vice versa. And of course we're assuming these are rational players. So, of course, there are many forms of interactions depending on whether you interact once or through time and how much information you have about the other player. But let me give you some applications. I mean, what are the things we're going to study? A lot of things. For example, why some societies are more cooperative and some are more individualistic? That is a very important question. And actually, we understand cooperation can be fundamental for development. But why you get these different implications for different societies? What is going on? We're going to try to understand that. We're going to, of course, look at firm interaction. Let's say Samsung with LG or Boeing, Airbus. How can we understand this game? What should the companies do? What can we expect them to do? And how does this compare to what is socially optimal? Usually what the market will deliver might not be socially optimal. We need to understand that. We're going to study things like, which is my specialty actually, trade cooperation. This is a very good timing for that. You see what is going on in the world. The WTO is in trouble. It might collapse. We don't know. So we need to understand what keeps the WTO together and what is going on these days. So many years, from the 40s until now, things were going quite well. Multilateral cooperation was being able to be sustained with ups and downs, but we managed to liberalize trade substantially. Why? We need to understand that. What enabled countries to do that? But what is going on these days? Of course, you know, I mean, there is one name, Donald Trump. Donald Trump was elected, but what changed? We need to understand this in a rigorous way. And actually also, why do some countries react aggressively to Trump and why some countries react less aggressively? Maybe China reacts quite aggressively, other countries react less aggressively. Let's say Korea tried to, in the renegotiation of Chorus, there was probably a different approach. Why? We need to understand this. So this is what we're going to do. Or for example, we're going to talk about international environmental cooperation. We know global warming is a huge issue, but what is going on? How can we go about it? For example, you need a certain number of countries to agree for this, for any agreement to be meaningful for the world. But if you are very ambitious, maybe not enough countries will subscribe to that. If you are less ambitious, maybe many countries will subscribe, but it will not be enough. So these are very important strategic situations, and all of this we'll try to analyze in this course. And many other things. For example, going back to just one last thing, going back to international trade, like for example, countries are allowed to use instruments of special protection, like anti-dumping safeguards, like the US now is doing that. But why are these allowed in the first place in the WTO? Why not forbid them? Why not get rid of them? Well, there is a reason. There is a game theoretic reason why you allow countries to use this special protection, even in a kind of a cooperative equilibrium. So we're going to study all of these interactions and many more. So this is what this course is about. It's about strategic interaction, and believe it or not, I think it's something we encounter almost every day in our life. I think so. Hopefully, this course will enable you to understand better strategic interactions and also understand what is going on more in the world in all of these multilateral issues. So that's what the course is about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Tabakis. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. Our faculty and staff members will be available to answer any questions you may have during the Q&A session. Before we break into the Q&A session, please start filling out the survey form if you have yet to do so. Okay, as previously mentioned, we'll break into 5 groups. As we're running out of the time, our script is